All right, hi everyone. Welcome back. I am Dr. Vernita Glenn-White. I go by Dr. V, and I am a strategic transformational coach where I help high achieving, brilliant people break their personal glass ceilings so they can show up more powerfully in their lives and their careers. I am also the CEO and founder of Glenn-White Global Solutions, which is a high-level training and development company where we bring practical applications to complex situations. And we do that in a variety of ways through speaking, coaching, consulting, being an author, and all of those great things. So today you are with me, you are joining me with Miss Sheniqua Johnson, and I will allow her to introduce herself because what I will say will not do any justice for all of her accomplishments. So, Ms. Shaniqua, take it away. Who are you? What results do you produce in the world?
Thank you so much, Dr. V, for having me. It is a pleasure. I am super excited to be here with you all today to talk a little bit about myself, but then to shine the light on the pluses, the additions that working with Dr. V has done for me. Let me tell you, I am bubbling up inside because the impact has been so great. So I am Sheniqua Johnson. What can I say about myself? I am a wellness strategist with a Better You LLC, where I am helping busy moms focus just a little bit of time and energy, that effort that they give so effortlessly to other people, they are going to now revert that and give a little bit to themselves so that they can continue to show up for this world without subtracting anything from themselves. So we're boosting their energy levels naturally. We are getting them motivated and inspired so that they can continue to do great things for themselves and their families, because that's so important. We don't want to forget about us in all of our productivity and busyness. Sometimes we take the short end of the stick. So we want to do away with that. I am also a registered nurse by profession. I have been a registered nurse for 20 years.
Wow.
I started when I was like 12. I started at 12. That's my story. We're going to stick to it. But it has been a blessed journey for me, and I have learned a massive amount about healthcare and wellness in general. But because this is about high producing women, right? I can't just stop there. I am also the CEO of Stronger Through Faith Publishing, where I am helping people to birth and produce their literary legacy. So if you have a story to tell, then you need to be talking to me, because I can help you get that to the world. It makes no sense for it to sit bubbled up inside of us. We keep it in our little journal in our nightstand, but no one's benefiting from it. Like, so what's the good? So I help those individuals who say, you know what, I could probably write a book about that. Well, come on. Let's bring you to the challenge and let's get that baby out of you. So in addition to having two businesses, being an author myself, I have written I think I'm up to 7 individual books and 4 collaborative book projects. In addition to all of that, I'm a mom. I'm a mom myself. I have 2 amazing teenagers. Well, excuse me. Let me change that. I have 1 teenager and 1 young adult. I think that's the more pleasant way that my 18-year-old would love to be addressed. So I'm dealing with a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old, and they are the blessings of my life. And honestly, they keep me going. They keep me going, they keep me motivated, and they keep me striving to that higher level. I can't just stay at a lower level. I have to always aim for that greatness for their benefits, because they're watching. They're watching. So I have to make sure I set the bar real, real high, because I need them to go far in this world. And if I don't set the bar, who else will? So that's a snippet. That's a snippet of who I am.
A snippet. That actually is I know you all may think that was a lot, but it really isn't. And hopefully, as we go through this interview, more things will come out about what Sheniqua produces in the world, because she's being nice. She contained it, but it is so much more. Before we jump in, I do like what you said. You said you want to work with moms and showing them the importance of putting themselves first without subtracting And I thought that was very powerful to say, because sometimes, especially professional women who are moms, you know, the guilt. I mean, I'm not a mom yet, but I hear so much about that guilt, that mom guilt, and they think they have to take something off of their plate or off of their life for them to have the life that they want. And you said they can do that without subtracting. So
Right.
I thought that was very powerful, because we are here to multiply, not add or subtract, but to multiply. So I wanted to hit that point. And so I know a lot of people have their excuses. And so you just laid out all of the great things you've accomplished in life while still being a mom, and you're still wanting more. So that was great. So look, people, y'all can sign off right now, because it was, you know, you got your nugget there. But no, stay tuned. We're gonna have some great conversations. Okay, so you told me some of the results that you produce in the world. Now I want to know, how would you describe yourself as a woman, personally, professionally, or do you think there's not a difference? It's like, this is how I am in whatever space that I'm in.
Well, honestly, once upon a time, there was no line of demarcation. So it was all blended together. So who I was professionally, it actually defined, in my eyes, before it defined who I was personally. And to be honest with you, I felt like I lost myself. I lost myself because everything that I did blended all together. And I remember I was sharing with you during one of our sessions that once upon a time, I looked in the mirror and I saw a gray blur.
Yeah.
It was a gray blur. I didn't see my chocolatey brown skin. I didn't see my chinky eyes or my high cheekbones. I didn't see any of that. What I saw was gray. And it was because there was no definitive line as to who Sheniqua was, or if there were, it somehow got blended and erased. So, becoming a wife kind of erased the lines of who Sheniqua was for me. Not to say that that happens to anyone else, but from what I experienced, becoming a mom of not one, but two children, it kind of erased that line of who Sheniqua used to be. Being a professional nurse, trying to strive and receive all of my accolades educationally, again, it kind of erased the line of who Sheniqua was deep down inside. And I'm going to be bold enough to even say, building my faith, being a Christian woman, yeah, I'm gonna say it. It actually blurred the lines of who I was, because I was now trying to live up to the expectations that people felt or believed, the world believed that a Christian woman should behave, and what she should wear and what she should do, and how she should be. So I allowed all of these different entities to erase that line of who I was. And it wasn't until I started diving into the personal development space that I realized and understood that I could be all of these great and amazing things without losing anything of myself. So that is one of the reasons why I love to work and to pour back into women through my coaching programs and my training programs, to really help them understand that, baby, you can be the best mom ever. You can be the best wife, or the best believer of God, the daughter of Christ. You can be the best professional nurse or teacher, whatever you ascribe to. You can be the best and continue to give the world 100% without erasing anything from who you are. Because if you don't get down to the bottom of who you really are and allow that to glow out and show out, you're not living at all. So I had to learn. I had to learn this. This was not something that I just knew. And it certainly wasn't anything that I saw growing up. It wasn't anything that you learn in school. It was something that I had to invest and spend that time and effort and energy into learning. Just as I did with achieving all of these accolades professionally, I had to do the work and put in the investment for my personal self. So now I feel I'm at a point where the lines are distinct. Like, so you know who I am, but I also know who I am. So what the world sees and what I see when I now look into the mirror tells the real story as to who I am.
Wow, that was a very different perspective of how do you see yourself personally and professionally. When you said erasing the lines, that is a different look, because I view it as sometimes I make lines, like I compartmentalize, I make the lines, and then and that's how I describe myself. But then when you said no, it was the other way for me. The line, the more I accomplished, the more I achieved, whether that was personally or professionally, lines were being erased, and I'm like, wow, that was mind blowing. So I love that different perspective, and like, because everyone I think is searching for something similar, but it may not look the same. So when you said that's how it looked for you, I love that. So that gives the audience a different perspective. Like maybe you see because I always saw myself as two different people, but then that we're all searching for something, but maybe someone can't relate to that. But like you said, it all blended together for me. It was just a blur. So I want to highlight that because I think that's very powerful. Before we move on, I do want to say something, and this may come up later on some of the questions, but you talked about being a Christian woman or a woman of faith. So I want to hear more about how did that either define or redefine or added some more lines being erased to how you saw yourself personally or professionally, or both.
Well, I forget the year because I'm getting up there in age. So dates really doesn't matter.
Nope.
But it was many years ago, and in fact, it wasn't. I'm not gonna say it was many years ago. Erase that. That wasn't true, because I'm gonna tell you the age that I was when it happened. But stick with me. I was actually on my 25th birthday. I was living in 21st. Excuse me, 21st birthday. I was living in Baltimore, Maryland, and I had moved away from home, and I was out on my own for the very first time. I had graduated from nursing school, and I just knew that I could be all that I wanted to be. And my parents couldn't understand why I had to be that in Maryland rather than staying where I was always at here in New York City. And so, but I wanted more in the world. I had this thirst for adventure. So I moved to Baltimore, Maryland. And I remember being out there, and I got a job as a graduate nurse. And as I was waiting to sit for my exam, and I didn't pass my exam the first time around. So I actually was demoted at my job. So I could not elevate. I actually had to come down a notch. But the funny thing about that is that the pay stayed the same. So what they were offering a graduate nurse and what they were offering the CNA, which was the step underneath it, was about 25, 50 cents difference. So it pretty much stayed the same. But I remember feeling hopeless. I felt like a failure. I just felt like I wasn't accomplishing what I had set out to accomplish at that time in my life. But hey, I was still young, and what I love to do, I love to get a good party in, right? I love to get it in and celebrate and just forget about the stresses of life and really just take off and let loose. And I remember one day I was in my apartment, and I was getting ready to go out to celebrate my birthday. So a friend of mine was getting ready as well, and we were going to meet up, and we were going to find some place in Maryland to go hang out at. Two New York girls hitting streets in Maryland, thinking we're going to have some fun. So I remember as I was getting ready, I had the music playing, because you know how you do. You got to get pumped up to go out.
The pre-party.
The music playing, yourself ready. You're like, I'm going to do this in the club. I'm going to do that in the club. So you're getting yourself motivated. And then the next thing I realized, tears were flowing from my eyes. And I couldn't understand it. I'm like, you getting ready to go, turn it loose. And we didn't say lit back. But we was about to do it. And like, here I am in the midst of this celebration, and tears start to drop from my eyes. And I didn't grow up in a praying family. We were not the ones that went to church on Sundays. We did go for Easter when we were south with the family. But other than that, we didn't really do church in my household. And the next thing I know, with the tears flowing down my eyes, I dropped to the floor. I dropped to my knees and I began to pray. I didn't know nothing about prayer, but I was having a conversation with God. And I didn't know what he was doing with me or what was going on with me, but I did know enough to talk to him. And that led me, once that dried up, I went out, had a good time. And that Sunday morning, I was front and center in the neighborhood church. So whatever that pull was, it drew me in, and I knew that I needed to be in church. So I went to the neighborhood church, and the following Sunday, my friend was like, "Oh, you want to go to church, eh?" She was like, "I got a church that you definitely got to come with me to my church because it's phenomenal." And so I went that following week, and again, we were in December because I didn't know that my birthday's in December. So that was in the beginning of December. By January 1st, I was giving my life to Christ.
Wow.
I was giving my life to Christ. I took that walk down, and I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what walking, down to the altar. I didn't know what it meant, but it felt good. It felt right. So when I did that, it became now a learning process. And so you're reading the Bible, you're going to Bible study, you're going to, Sunday school, you're getting all of this teaching, you're watching, what people do. And my family grew up in the church. They were in the South and they grew up in the church, and they had a different look of what church life appeared than what I was seeing in my face. Where I was at, it was different than what I grew up with. But then I thought I had to emulate what I had seen them do, wearing the skirts, the no makeup, the no jewelry. Like I thought that had to be, right? And so it was a struggle because again, I'm young, I'm finding my way in the world, I'm doing new things, and it was a struggle. It was a struggle as to who I was and who I was becoming. So that it did add a lot of pressure. And fast forwarding through, when I met my he was at the time my husband. He ain't my husband no more. So don't let nobody, I'm single. Yeah, keep that in the pot. I'm single. Yeah, but at the time when I met him, I struggled. Because on one end, I'm a hot girl. On another end, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled. Like, what are we doing here? So there was this struggle. And even throughout the marriage, there was this struggle of who I was trying to become in Christ and who he had met me to be, because he met me in a club.
Wow.
So there was this struggle. So it wasn't until I probably want to say maybe a few years ago when I learned that there didn't need to be a struggle. God doesn't expect us to be someone different. The reason why he chose us is because of who we are. But we let the world, we let society tell us that we have to be something different. And in order to be, God's daughter, in order to be a Christian, you have to look a certain way. You have to be a certain way. And that's honestly not the case. It's not the case. Now, does that mean that I need to go and shake a tail feather and turn up and act like how I did when I was young? No, I'm a grown woman. I'm a grown woman. But if I wanted to do those things, right? Let's just be honest with it. If I wanted to do those things, it's not to say that I could not. But when Christ is in your life, it kind of changes your taste buds, if I can say it in that manner.
I get it.
But yes, there is a struggle. There is a struggle when you're in that season of becoming, as First Lady Michelle Obama has now coined. Yes. In that season of becoming, there is always this struggle.
That is powerful. Like, we won't get too deep into that, but I understand growing up in church and having to be a certain way. And I don't want people to mistake, like, it's not the Christianity, it's not the practicing of the faith, it's not for me, but it was the protocol and the procedures and the rules and the structure that had me like confused. And I'm still, even at this age, unlearning a lot of things I learned of who I was supposed to be in Christ. And I was like, honestly, none of that was Bible. None. So you are right. There is a struggle, especially for women that look like us or professional women who were trained to do, like, we wouldn't be at the level we were if we weren't good students. So when we come into Christ or faith or whatever your faith is rules you follow because that's how you're wired. And then we don't think about it as just something to follow, as to learn and to guide. We take on that as an identity. And that's where the struggle is, because we take on stuff as identity instead of it being what it is, you know. So I hope that makes sense, but I'm glad you laid that out. So that kind of goes into the next set of questions. So as you know, I wrote a book called Embracing Grit for Greatness, Becoming Professionally Powerful Through Personal Empowerment. And so if you know that this is my publisher, I had no idea she was gonna have the book. Oh my God, see, this is why you have to have supportive people in your circle. I had no idea she was gonna do that. Yeah. Thank you for that. But yeah, she is my publisher. This was our second book project. And one day we may have to come on and tell that whole story. It may be on your Facebook page or something. I don't know, of how I had no idea I wanted to write any type of book. And it took one conversation and the floodgates open from there. So that's why you got to surround yourself with great people. But anyway, so you do know I wrote that book. So what I want to do is just ask you a few questions just based on the title to see what that title means to you. So the first one is, what does grit mean to you? And it can be personally, professionally, all together.
I think grit is, as defined by me, is the hard work. It's the activity that is necessary. So it's a necessary activity that needs to be done. So, and I want to say grit is even more so that power. It's like a power behind that activity. It's a driving force. So, you know, because yeah, we get up and we wake up in the morning, we have a cup of water, but what's the driving force behind that? So I would define grit to be kind of that fuel, that spark that drives us to do certain things in our lives.
Oh, great. I love that, the fuel behind it. So yes, grit is more than, I like that you say, yes, it is the hard work, but it's the behind the scenes. And I think a lot of times people don't realize that there are a lot of people working hard every day doing stuff, but it's who are they becoming along the way? What is that fuel? What is that power behind it? So I love the way you describe that. What does greatness mean to you?
A lot of people think about greatness as a destination. So we always feel like we're aspiring, we're striving to get to this place called greatness. But I believe greatness is something that we are. It's already embedded inside of us. We just have to have the windows in order for it to shine out. So we are all great. The Lord makes us all great. That is who we are. But are we doing the activities that is going to get us, or get the world, to get us and the world to see that greatness that's already inside of us?
Wow, you said windows. I like that. So when you are you talking about windows as the activities that we're supposed to do, or what did you mean by windows?
Well, windows meaning the outlet in which you would see it. So okay. So if you don't have, say, if you can build a fantastic house, the house is fabulous, but if you don't have any windows, nobody would ever be able to see inside of it, to see that it's a great house. I mean, we know it's a great house. It was built to be a great house, but if you don't have windows, how would anybody see it? And the same way, we keep with that example of the house, the people inside the house would need to look outside the house. So a lot of times, you know, we're inwardly beating ourselves up because we don't see that greatness inside of us, because maybe we don't have those windows. We don't have that two-sided, kind of view vantage point where we're only seeing what people are doing on the outside, that we're not able to see what greatness is going on in the inside of us. So we need some windows on us so that greatness can shine out, because it is inside of us.
Wow, I got chills with that example. You really took it home when you said sometimes we're in the house and we still don't know greatness because we haven't looked out. We don't have any, not really compare it to, but we don't have, like you said, that vantage point. Oh, that was good. I love that. Okay, what are your thoughts about personal development and personal growth, especially as a high achieving professional woman? You are trained traditionally by school and certifications and all of that professionally, but what does it mean for personal growth? What does that look like to you?
It is necessary. It is absolute necessary. If you do not, AKA bum doc, right? We go back to bum doc in the book, right? We have to make certain that there is balance in our lives. If we don't have that balance, we're going to topple over. And I've done that. I've lived that. I was at the height of my nursing career. I had the house, I had the spouse, I had the kids. The only thing we were missing was the dog and the white picket fence. And I didn't desire either of those things. So by society standard, I was living high. I was doing well. I was at that great place, but I still toppled over. The divorce still occurred. The unhappiness still occurred. Depression still set in. So all of these things still occurred. So even at the highest level in life, that trauma, that drama still hit me. Why? Because I was not balanced. I was I was professional, and personally, everything else was suffering. So we need to have that balance in our lives in order to get to that point of greatness, or to see that point of greatness inside of us, no matter what's going on and no matter who's around you and no matter what you have. If you don't have that balance, you're always going to be teeter-tottering over in the wrong direction. So it's necessary, 100%, 1,000% necessary.
And you heard her say bum doc. That is in the book, where I had already achieved my PhD, and I had no job when I graduated college. I applied 34, 35 times. Everybody said no. Some of them were even silent. I was living with my grandmother. So on the outside, I achieved something that only 2% of the world's population achieved, and I had nothing to show for it. So I wanted, if you heard bum doc, that's what it was. And she gave you gave a great example about how that looked in your life. Top, always achieving. That's what we do. But this personal life, we don't focus on that. So what does it look like to bring in that balance, or bring in that focus personally, so you don't topple over? Because you've seen it, you toppled, but then you got back up. But then what did you do for personal growth, personal development, to, well, I don't want to say equal everything out, but to make sure that you don't fall like that? Because we fall, but we don't have to go that deep anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want everybody to understand that it's an ongoing process. It's not a one and done. It's not something that you do one time and you never ever have to do it again. Absolutely not.
I used to think that.
Yeah, me too. Oh, I got a mani-pedi, I'm good. No, baby, it takes a little bit more than good looking nails and feet to get you to that place of balance. It really, really does. One spa trip ain't gonna do it. You need to have some level of consistency in your life to be focused and aware that you do need to support your personal development. So for me, it's coaches. I love to sit with coaches and to get that laser focus, just kind of zooming into where I am currently. So I like to have those constant check-ins. It is also about listening to my body. I listen to my body each and every day. What do I need? I start my day off, I love telling everybody this. I start my day off with 2 cups of warm water every day. Why do I keep doing that? Because I notice when I start my day like that, my day goes really, really well. My water consumption for the day is really, really well because I take those small baby steps each and every day. I got up this morning, I went for a walk by myself. I had some good, tunes going into my ear. I was praying, meditating, and walking, communing with God. When I do that, my day is fire. Like I am a force to be reckoned with. So I realize the day-to-day upkeep that's required for my personal development, as well as the grand retreats and vacations. And yes, it does go further than a spa session or a mani-pedi or getting your hair done. It goes way beyond that. But as women, especially moms, that's all we allow ourselves time to do. That's it. We may go out with our girlfriends every now and again, but that's all we give ourselves permission to do. We feel like we can rationalize that. Well, I have to keep up with her because we grew up together. No, you need the time for yourself so that you can unwind, that you can talk and just be you and not have to be mommy or not have to be the teacher or the nurse or the doctor or whatever the case may be. Like we do need a moment to take off that cape.
Yes.
And I actually said this to, I messaged a friend of mine today and I told her, I said, listen, she was going through some things. And I said, listen, it's okay for Superwoman to not show up every day. The world will adjust. Superwoman does not have to show up every day. The world will adjust.
Oh, I love that. I'm writing that down. The world will adjust. I love it.
Yes.
You gave some, when I ask you what does personal development look like, you gave some practical things in there. I'm all about knowing things in a practical way, because we hear so much in theory, but it's like, what does that look like? So you mentioned, we're going to go a little deeper into all of these, but you mentioned coaches, you mentioned just even the drink of water and wellness. And I'm going to say that I'm going to say, no, we'll stick with those 3. Boundaries of the girlfriends. That's what I heard when you were saying that. So tell me a little bit, what does personal development with coaches, what does that look like for someone? Well, let me back up. How do you feel about a lot of professional women, a lot of women who look like us, not buying into the idea of coaching? And what would you say to that, if that makes sense?
Because as high achieving professional women, we know it all. We've got the degrees to prove that we know it all, right? So we are constantly, yes, we'll sit in a classroom and we'll gain this knowledge and information from a teacher, from a degree program. We'll sit and we'll soak that in. Why would we not do that from a coach? It's the same kind of concept. It's the same kind of thirst for knowledge. And to me, it gets a little bit more laser focused, because I don't know about, where you went to school, but when I went to college, especially in my baccalaureate program, I was in a classroom with 500 students.
Oh, yeah.
Taking chemistries, we were all sitting up on these row seats and taking chemistry with your quarter going. Yeah. That's how I learned chemistry, right? So if you have a question, if 500 other people have a question, what's the chance that the professor is going to get to your question so you can get your deep dive as to your learning? But when you work with a coach, it's more of a one-on-one. So you get to present your problems and what it means to you, and get a deeper dive as to what the strategy may look like or what the results may look like and the steps that you can take. So it's like having a private tutor. So why would, as high achievers, we like tutors. We like tutors. We like personal trainers. When we go to the gym, we feel like we're doing something more when we get a personal trainer. So why would you not get a coach? And if you're in the space where you desire to be a coach, if you don't have a coach, you shouldn't be coaching anybody.
Right.
That's
I'm
my
gonna jump
personal
in
opinion.
a little part. I'm gonna let you, but yeah, when people say that, you know, you can become a coach based on your life experiences, and I'm like, okay, cool, you can. But then it's like, well, who's helping you? Because you have to keep growing. But yes, I'm with you on that part.
Yep.
But you made a good point about being in the classroom, and that's something that, you know, a lot of the women I work with, we know classroom, we know education life. That's what we do. And then when you said, but to be able to narrow that focus, because you told me this the other day in our session, to be seen. That is really at the bottom line of a lot of this, is to be seen. And we go through all of this to be seen, but with coaches, the right coaches, and then whatever you're focusing on, you have the opportunity to be seen. So I love that. And yeah, and the part about
here's the thing about us wanting to be seen. In the back of our minds, we want to be seen, but we really don't want to be seen. We want to be seen. See me, see me, see me. But when somebody really does see you, you start shining away. You start covering up. And they talking to me? Yeah, because you know the healing, the transformation that can take place when the world really does see you. So right now, everybody is striving to get to this point. We want the world to see us. Do the reels, do the TikTok, do your little dance, baby girl. Get it in so that people can see you. But what really happens when people really do see you? Without the glitz, without the glams, without the lighting. We were talking about that earlier, about the darn lighting. Without all of that, what happens when people really do see you? Healing takes place, transformation takes place, growth takes place. We start to evolve. We start to function at a higher capacity. Now, we may be high right now, but there is higher. There's always higher than where we currently are. And if you truly want to get to that spot, you've got to take off some of those ropes that kind of tie us up. And you really do need to get up into a place where you're going to be seen.
Seen for real.
Yeah, for real, for real. Not for play, but for real, for real. Yeah.
So I love that take on coaches from your perspective, because I didn't know anything about coaches until like 2018. Really so much in 2019, because I was like, coaches, that's for those people over there. And then I was talking to someone else. She brought this home. She was like, coaches have been around all the time. Writing coaches, resume coaches, speak coaching, business, whatever. And then sometimes we look at other professional people or successful people, wondering why can't we achieve what they have, not knowing they had the best kept secret. They knew they needed a team of people to support them. So I'm glad to hear your perspective about that. Now, with some more practical ways, you talked about water. I'm going to lump it into wellness. How is that part of personal growth or personal development?
It's changed my life. It's totally changed my life. And look, I don't only have your book here. I got my book here too, baby. Yeah, you got to stay ready. I wrote this book, I Am My Business. So it's quick tips for women on the go so that they can keep going. So this book I wrote this book. I was led to write this book because what's inside of this book are quick tips, because everybody's busy. You don't have time to do this. You don't have time to do that. We're so busy. We're so on the go. So I wanted to put in those quick wellness tips that could get a woman, just wherever she's at, meet her where she's at, that would get her to feel better. Because that wellness is the key. If you want to continue or maintain your productivity, you need to be well. That productivity that you're doing right now, just imagine if you added wellness to it, you would be doing it even more. We've been trying to get people to see us. If you get well, child, they can't help but see you. You're going to be glowing. They're not going to help but to see you. But right now, you're so busy. You're busy, and you're eating junk food, or you're either eating too much, or you're not eating enough.
Eating at all. Mm-hmm.
You're not getting the nutrients, the vitamins, the supplements, the water. You're not getting any of this. You start your day with the coffee, and you're coffee all day long,
Right.
or you're munching on chocolate and carbs. You had a bagel for breakfast. You had a sandwich for lunch. You got rolls for dinner. Like you're just consuming all of these things, and you think you're doing well. Why? Because there's evidence of life. Ooh. You are moving about the premises. The kids have been bathed. The house has been cleaned. The dinner has been prepared. You are leaving evidence. So in your mind, or in your visual vantage point, you're saying to yourself, oh, I must be doing really, really well. I am super productive today. Wow. But just imagine what's going on the background. In the background, what's going on to your body. Your heart is like, oh my God. Wow. Here she go again, doing this, doing that. I got to try to keep up with her. Your bones are like, crick. Oh, she's up again. Okay. She's going to work. Let me crick, and do all of this to try to support and sustain her. So we don't treat our bodies well. We don't treat our skin well. We don't treat ourselves well, but we still expect it to show up and show out for us, right? So we still expect our bodies to function at its highest capacity. We still expect it to go and do what it is that we want it to do, but we don't treat it with respect, like as if it's a tool to get the job done. So that is why wellness is super, super important. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a nurse. I'm saying that because I've lived it in my own life. Sure, I'm productive and I get stuff done, but yes, everything is done. But when my energy level is high, I can do so much more. I love so much more.
I love that. So now personal development can come in the form of coaches. Personal development can also come by really taking care of the wellness part of your body. And I love that you said that, because there are people that they do work out. They may have, decent diets, but because of the evidence is there, but they're not taking that internal look at like the organs, the skin, the energy level. So that was good. And then the other thing, I wanted, you sort of mentioned boundaries. Like I put that word in your mouth, but sometimes like we think personal growth or self-care is catching up with the girlfriends, but that you may need to not catch up with them to be part of your personal growth or personal development. What are your thoughts about that, especially as a professional woman? Because I don't know about you, but I craved female friendships, because it was like, people always said it's lonely at the top, or the more you succeed, it's so much competition with women. So I've always had that, I don't know if I can be around some women. But then when I finally got a group, every time they wanted to do something, I was like, okay, I'll do it. Because I was like, well, I don't want to alienate my friends, but then if I want to go to another level, sometimes I need those boundaries, and it's still a tug. So what are your thoughts about boundaries with the girlfriends, and how does that relate to personal growth?
So I'm gonna take y'all back again, because I already shared with y'all about my clubbing days, right? So I remember there was a time when I used to go to the club, and one night in particular, we went 13 deep. 13 deep. So for the new age people that don't know what that means it was 13 young ladies getting together, and we showed up at the club. And we used to, here in New York, we take the subway everywhere. So we used to meet at 125th Street. Everybody would get on the same train, and we would head to our destinations, and we would show up like a pack of women to show our strength and dominate. The guys' jaws would drop when they would see us coming down the block, everybody looking cute. So we used to go 13 deep. So that's the way I used to roll. But as I got older, I realized I don't need 13 people with me. I can't keep up with 13 people. Thank God for social media, because I can say, hey girl, remember back in the days, and we can reminisce and say hello and keep it moving. But in my close circle, one-handed. is how many people are in my close circle. And even the people who are in my closest circle, we do not speak every day. Mm-hmm. Once upon a time when I was younger, I used to speak to my BFF 12 times a day. And that's exaggerating. All right, let me call you back. Like we would talk constantly throughout the day. Now, once a week, once every 2 weeks. I love you, but I have things to do. Right. I have work to do, and I don't have time to gab. Now I do make time for gabbing. Exactly. And I can put gabbing on my schedule, but I don't have time to gab. I can't gab and build at the same time. Something's going to be lacking. So it is important to have a network or a support system of friends, but we also need to be realistic. We're grown, we're busy women, and no, don't take offense that I don't speak to you every day. Don't take offense if I only speak to you twice a month or something like that. Know that I'm working. Know that I pray for you. Before I get up out of the bed, I pray for my circle of friends. That doesn't mean I'm going to call them. I let God check on them. If I check on them, make sure they're good. And if they're good, I'm good. And if they need me, they know they can ring my phone. They know I'll get on the phone with them. But if the need is not there, I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to spend the time feeding me.
I love that. That's another definition of putting yourself first without being selfish, because you mentioned, I like how you mentioned, I have time to gab, but it's on my schedule. And I remember when you shared where that time wasn't on your schedule, and how many hours did you lose that day when there was an unexpected gab session? I think it was 3 hours you said you lost that day.
3 hours.
But that's still like,
3 hours just suck. Yep.
And that's still building those boundaries, because if you know that you want to have these goals in life, and sometimes everyone, even your close friends, are not on that same journey, it's okay to say, well, I'm not answering the phone, but we can talk on this Saturday, and you can say all you want to. But I love that. That's another practical way for self-growth and development, is to schedule gap time. We schedule everything else professionally, but we need to do the same thing in our personal lives. So I love that. Okay. Because I think we've answered like a lot of this but I love it organically. Okay. So I consider you a successful woman based on just, what I know about, what results you put out there in the world. But even with all of the things that you've accomplished, do you feel that there's something in your life that you ignored because you were so focused on the accolades and being this professional woman?
I do, and I can be honest, I'll be honest here. I do feel relationship-wise, finding a new husband, being seen by a potential, I have kind of put a pin in that in order for me to build my business. And here's where that biblical or that religious kind of upbringing kind of starts to, thwart the way we think, because what was Ruth doing? And everybody keeps saying Ruth was working when she met Boaz. So you got to be working, girl. You got to be in the fields, So I took that literally, and I was like, I better put in this extra work. No, you can't run yourself down. And I think the extra work that I was doing, thinking I'm doing it under a biblical sense, I was hiding. I was hiding behind my businesses. And in fact, I had met one guy not too long ago, and he wanted to connect up with me, and he would stay a time. And I'm like, no, I'm like, dude, like I work a full-time job. I'm a training and development specialist. So I facilitate, orientations. I'm like, I got a full-time job. I said, and I got these 2 teenage boys. And I said, and I'm running 2 businesses. I ain't got time to be trips in the night at 10 o'clock. You want me to come to your house at 10 o'clock? What does that look like? Dude, at 10 o'clock? No, baby, at 10 o'clock, I'm getting ready to wind myself down. I ain't trying to socialize and be entertaining. So, I totally, like, every time, he would suggest, well, I'm taking a day off. How about we do this? It's nice that you got a day off, but I'm working. Like, I got clients to tend to. Like, I've got a book project that's ready to get pushed out. So, like, I always found an excuse. I wasn't really that interested in him either. So sometimes excuses come up, right?
It was easy to do that when you're not interested. Yeah.
But I have hid, and I'll be honest, I have hid behind the work. I have hid behind the titles and the busyness. I have hid behind it because, as much as we want to be seen, as much as we want to be found by Boaz, it is a little scary. Yeah. For me, I'm not going to say it is for anybody else, but for me, it's a little bit scary. Yeah.
I never looked at that scripture that way. I never put that together where I never had the people tell me, well, Ruth, she worked. So that's where you got to find him. A lot of women probably had the same perspective or been told the same thing you have. I've never heard that, but I heard my version of it, but not in that biblical sense. It was because when you mentioned Ruth, I immediately went to, but she laid at Boaz's feet. She was getting his attention. But you were like, no, people were saying she worked, so you got to work to get the attention. See, the Bible wasn't wrong. It's the it was what the people said. But Ruth, after she worked, she went and got herself together and was like, you gonna pay attention to me.
Yes.
Like, we don't. Wow, I can see women not going to that other side of the story. They still out there in the field.
And still working, because that's where we think he gonna find us. He gonna find us working, but guess what? We're gonna be too busy. We're gonna be too busy. We probably don't even see him. He probably done showed up.
He probably showed up.
So busy, yeah.
And like you said, I don't have time, but just like you schedule that gap time, you have to schedule that relationship time. If that's something you desire, that's something I started doing. Even I put it in my calendar, and I know it sounds strange, but it'll be like date night. I ain't dating nobody, but it's in there because it's like that's you good. Say what you want, good. But then you don't have room for it. It's not coming. So it'll be date night, child. It's me.
That's good. That's good though. That's good.
But we do that. Like if we want to make an appointment, we go to this job. We block that out. But then our personal lives, we don't block things out, and then we wonder why. So
that's good. I like that, Coach. Thank you. I'm taking that.
Yes, take it. Schedule it, even if it's nobody there, because you're showing yourself that you said this is what you want. Now make time for it. You said you wanted that degree, that career. You did whatever you could to get those accolades to accomplish that goal. Same thing over here. So I love that. What would you have done differently? Because you mentioned something about relationships. You put a pin on it, even though you were married before. You're still successful. You're still running businesses. We'll talk about this later, but you included the e-commerce business with the 2 businesses?
No.
Okay, so we'll talk. Okay, because I was like, I thought it was more than 2, but we'll get to that. What would you have done differently, knowing all that you know about coaches, things that you've ignored, having the success, already having a marriage, a family, all of that? Is there anything that you would have done differently?
I would have spent more time and effort on me, meaning personal development. I would not have put me last. And I would not have set those expectations for anyone else to put me last.
Wow.
Or anybody else's expectations that I would choose me last. So I had the mentality, if I cooked dinner, I would fix the children's plate, I would fix the spouse's plate, and then I would fix my plate last. Ask these kids whose plate gets fixed first now, okay? I will be sitting down here chomping away on dinner, and they'll come down like, so are we gonna eat? Yup. Soon as I'm done. When I'm done, I will, if you need me, and I don't mind fixing plates, and it's fine. And it's fine because I've got teenagers and they have no sense of portion control. So I don't mind, but I put myself as a priority. So I think, retrospective, looking back, I would spend more time, and I would not be okay with putting me last, thinking that it was something that I needed to do as a mom or as a wife. And please believe, when I do get into a relationship, he already got it, and he's going to see it. And I think that's where the Bible, where that guidance about Ruth, it says that Ruth is working, but it says that she's doing her. She's
Yeah.
taking care of.
I love it.
So when he does show up, he's going to see that she's taking care of her. And then she'll be able to again devote that time to him, and she's not taking anything, she's not subtracting anything from herself, because she's already put herself on her to-do list. She's already on there, and she's building herself up, and she's going to continue to build herself up. She's not going to be cute to get the man and then stop being cute. No, it becomes a part of her daily practices. So I would definitely invest in personal development a lot sooner, if I had the opportunity to go back. And I would never self-sacrifice and put myself last ever again.
Well, I love it. Even the example of I fix my plate first is nothing about being selfish, but it's just that act of something so small. And if you do that enough, I think it starts sitting into your cells. It's like it has nothing to do with selfish or anything. But I love this, what you said too. I am on my to-do list. Mm-hmm. Ruth put herself on her to-do list. We have to put ourselves on our to-do list. I love that. Those small steps. I love that. So, as you know, I'm working on, well, you know this, I'm working on a movement called Embracing Your Brilliance, or Embracing Brilliance. What comes to mind when you, with all of your great things going on, what comes to mind when you hear that phrase?
Being who you were called to be. Because we are all brilliantly blessed. We are all brilliant women. We're high achievers, for goodness sakes. We ascribe to being brilliant and being comfortable with who you are without, blurring the lines or erasing the lines. It is about just shining out as who you are. So I think when you are fully functioning in your purpose, and your purpose may change seasonally, yearly, it may change. However, the fact that you show up each and every day in your brilliance is what I envision when you say embracing it. It says, this is who I am. I am a busy mom with all of these businesses and the wisdom of God, the discernment. So don't come at me any old kind of a way, because I got all of this inside of me, and I embrace it. I no longer hide from it. It is who I am, and that's enough. A lot of women always think that they have to ascribe. You got to be better and bigger and bolder. And honey, you are enough. You just have to embrace that brilliance that is already inside. Put the windows. You need the windows. Or maybe you need to clean the windows. Got to clean the windows because they got smudge. Maybe because your nose was pressed up against the screen because you're looking at what other people are doing. But clean the window and you'll see that your brilliance is already there.
You've done an entire series based on using this house. I love it. Oh my gosh. You need to sit with that and unpack that. I think I love it. The whole house analogy and the windows. Yeah. I love it. But yes, I've been up on plenty of windows smudged and can't see all of these great things behind me because I'm so but they do, but look at them. Yeah. I need to wipe my windows in some areas. I love it. Okay. What advice, I think you already said this, you said you would invest more in personal growth, personal development. But what some advice would you give to your younger self at any age? It could be a teenager. It could be last week if you want to. So,
one advice that I would give to my younger self is, I got two advices. He ain't worth it. Ooh. I can go for years. I could talk forever and ever about that, but he ain't worth it. And the second one is, your mental health matters. It's not a stigma. It's not something you should be ashamed of. It's something that should be supported. Just like if somebody had asthma, you're going to have a pump next to you. You're going to have your little inhaler with you. So there's no shame. There's no shame when they got to pull out their inhaler. But we look at mental health like it's something we got to hide in the closet and do and take care of. And it's like, no, your mental health matters, and support it in the open. Like there's no need to hide in the dark about it.
Wow, I love it. Yeah, we won't. I got every bit of what you meant on He Ain't Worth It. So I think people who will hear this, I think everyone will know their version of He Ain't Worth It. Yeah, I love that. Mm-hmm. And the example of the inhaler, that is powerful. Like, you don't have anybody going around the corner trying to cover up their pumps. It's like, I need what I need. Let me go ahead and do this.
They get it. They get it in. They get it in.
Right? But then anything that we cannot see, we're ashamed of getting support for that. So I love that example, and I hope that resonates with someone. You have someone who's in the wellness, health and wellness field telling you not to be ashamed of anything related to mental health. I love it. Okay, so we are wrapping up. So I want to ask you, let's say you're 10 to 20 years older. Where do you see yourself? Whether personally, professionally, or however you want to describe it.
I'm on a beach. I got my boo thing sitting next to me. He's passing me. My third, fourth colada. We lost count. We don't count in Aruba. It just is what it is. I've got.
Did you say we don't count in Aruba? You're in Aruba.
We don't count in Aruba. Yeah, we don't count drinks in Aruba. It's endless. It's a continuous flow. But he's passing me my next one, and I've got my laptop open, and I'm answering some client emails, and he's rubbing my shoulders. And life is good. I get to spend a little bit of time on my business. I get to spend time with my new husband, and we are enjoying that life. We're enjoying that life. And when we're done in Aruba, we get to go someplace else. And the kids are fine. They're doing great. Occasionally we cash at them a little something, but they're fine. They're well, and they'll probably meet up with us in about at the end of the month, and they're going to be loving the progress that their mom has made, and they say, Mom, wow, you look radiant, you look amazing, because they see now the efforts that I was making while they were growing up. They now see the point. They get the point. They understand the point. And now they call me blessed.
Ooh, you gave me chills. I love that for several reasons. A lot of times and what I've seen from women, especially professional women, when we're younger, we see ourselves at a certain level in our careers. But once we've reached that, we stop dreaming to see ourselves even beyond that. So I love that where you didn't immediately start with, I have this type of business, but you still have it in there. But it's like, I have my love that I want. We're traveling. You hit a lot of major areas. Your finances are doing well. Your relationship is doing well. Your business, because finances and business are different, that's doing well. Your family is doing well. And for you to be in that place, I'm going to say your spirituality as well. So those are 5 areas just from that little scenario.
And I'm in a bikini. Let me throw that in there.
So they're going to help.
Yes. Ain't nothing hanging over. Everything is tight and, right. So the wellness is well too, baby. Yes.
I love that. So I've been studying this, and there are 12 areas of our full lives, but there are at least 5 to start with. And I named them. And it's like, if you can at least focus on these 5, you can have a well-rounded life. And I think you mentioned this in one of our sessions, where you plan your day sort of with those areas in mind, like your spirituality, your health and wellness, your business, your relationships, your family, your finance, however you want to put it, with those categories. And a lot of them, we don't think that. We think personal and professional, but we don't break down that personal, and it's at least in those areas. I love that. I want to come to Aruba too. Okay, so we have wrapped up. I have one more question for you, but I hope all of you have heard, a different perspective from someone who is professional, has a lot going on, very productive, but still understanding the importance of taking herself putting herself first through personal growth. And again, it's beyond manis, petties, and massages. You may have to get some courses, some courses, some coaches, some books. You may have to set your boundaries, focus on what you're listening to your body, because again, you can go work out but that's not really listening to your body. So you gave a lot. So the no excuse, people, no excuse. No more saying I don't have time to do all of this, because we all have goals and things that we want to accomplish, but then we have to ask ourselves, why are we not accomplishing those things? Especially those of us who get to a certain level in our careers faster than we thought, or younger. And exactly, because in some of these positions, people retire. I was a college professor. You're supposed to retire as a college professor. Well, been there, done that. You are a nurse. There are people who retire as nurses, and you're like, okay, been there, done that.
Got the t-shirt. Yes.
Got the t-shirt. So again, people, there are no excuses. So you mentioned that you have a publishing company. We talked about that. And you showed me one of your, 7 books? I thought it was 11, but you said 7 individual books.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I was like, no, I think she got more, y'all, but individual books. Look, It took me forever to get 2 out. She over here with 7. Okay. So you have a publishing company. You have the training and development, your wellness company? Okay, and then the one that you didn't really talk about was your e-commerce business. So tell me a little bit about that, and then how that ties into personal and professional development.
Okay, yes. So yes, I am the CEO of Stronger Through Faith Publishing. I am the CEO of A Better You LLC. And the reason, it's so funny because it's new. It's all new to me. The e-commerce space is all very new to me. And I usually think of it as an expansion of what it is that I do, the space that I'm already in. And it's become an easy way to be an expansion as an additional stream of income. It's become really, really easy. So sometimes I don't count it as a separate entity because it's like, it's so super, so it works itself out. So it's like a business that's just kind of running in the background. And honestly, that's the type of business that I envision. So where I'm on this beach in Aruba, I'm not putting a lot of effort. I'm not breaking a sweat. I'm not punching a clock. I'm not showing up and having to be somewhere for 8 full hours of my life. That's like that 3-hour phone conversation. Like that's 8 hours out of my day. No. In Aruba, we're not worried about anything like that. Like we are carefree. We're doing what needs to be done, but we are still enjoying our lives. So that's where I envision myself. And this e-commerce space has really set a tone. It's kind of set the trajectory for that easy kind of life. And I absolutely love it. So how it ties into my personal development, I guess I need to kind of kick some game real quick, because not a lot of people understand what we do in the e-commerce space. So I recently released 14 pounds. My skin is glowing. My mobility, my left knee used to ache. When I was trying to do my physical activity, when I'm trying to do my squats, my knees were crook, doing all that extra curricular sound effects when I'm trying to move. And that no longer takes place. I'm moving now with ease. My hair is growing. My nails is growing. I can't keep up with a mani-pedi because my nails are growing. They're strong. I don't need any, look, I don't have no acrylic or anything on my nails. My nails are super strong. So I've done all of these things. I have improved my body, and my energy level has increased from that. And that all came from this easy e-commerce space. So all of the products that, and you actually introduced, don't steal that one away. You actually introduced me to these amazing products. I believe I started out with the skincare, and I was in love with the skincare facial. So I'm doing facials, self-care, right? I'm getting my facials in. I do facials maybe 2-3 times a week. And I do it at home. I don't have to pay anybody to do so. I've got these high quality products. where I take that alone time. Sometimes I do it first thing in the morning. The house is quiet and I'm in there doing a facial. It has collagen infused, so my skin is getting nice and youthful and reversing the signs of aging. Over here looking like I'm 25 again and everything. So those products that I was trying and I was loving, it actually was that opportunity. When you presented that opportunity for me as a businesswoman, I was like, this is wise. If I'm going to be investing in these products, and this is the part that I think a lot of people don't connect. They're always so scared to, take these business ventures, but it's like, dude, you're buying the products anyway. You love the products, you're buying the products. So if you're going to spend the money on the products, why not benefit from it? So here's how I actually benefit from buying the products, from releasing the weight, from, getting my mobility better. I'm getting more flexible off the company's dime now. So what people don't realize is that you can actually take the products that you've been purchasing for your skin and for your household, got laundry detergents and dishwashing liquids. You can actually take those products that you're buying to, support your health and the health of your family, and you can claim that on your taxes. So you get a tax write-off. It's a tax write-off. But if you don't do the business, you're just spending money. You're just spending money buying products. You're on Amazon, you're buying products. But if you take it on as a business, you get to claim it as a write-off. And so it's kind of like your business has just paid you to be beautiful. Your business just paid you to lose weight. Your business just paid for your family to have a clean living products, plant-based, clean living products. As a high achieving woman, it was the smartest decision. And the fact that you don't have to think, we've got a wonderful support network with mentors and trainings. And I'm learning the training that we get. I'm taking that information and applying it to Stronger Through Faith Publishing and applying it to a Better You LLC. I'm moving that education around. It's not like you become a nurse, you get this degree and you just stick right here. No, I'm taking this knowledge that I received, this personal development, this growth, business, marketing, sales strategy. I'm taking that and sprinkling it all over every area of my life. I'm teaching my children this stuff. So when they start building up their business, my oldest wants to do real estate. Baby, he ain't gonna have to pay for no sales coach, marketing coach, unless he wants to, because mama done invested in it all. And it gets sprinkled around every area of my life. So it's like the small investment you make to get started, it's going to bless every area of your life, whether you're doing Mary Kay, whether you're doing paparazzi, whatever it is that you do. You've got a t-shirt business. You can take the knowledge and skill set that you're going to gain doing this e-commerce, and e-commerce is going nowhere. It is here to stay. Everybody shops online. So it's going absolutely nowhere. In fact, the trajectory of it is increasing because of the way the world is so we don't know what's going on these days from day to day. So the e-commerce space is probably one of the best investments that you can make, especially if you're entering into the health and where's my immune? I have my immune health. So we have products that will get you healthy. That's going to boost your immune system, right? That's going to support your mental clarity, your brain, your heart health, your joint health. Hello, this is what the world needs. In a world of uncertainty, of sickness and disease, we need health and wellness, even more so now. So why would you not come into this space? Especially when you see or you understand that you're going to have mentor support, you're going to have the training. You don't have to know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I've never had products outside of my books. I've never had to sell products before in my life, but it's been really, really easy. So why not?
I love all of that. I need to find this clip and save that for like our infomercial. I love you. You got me feeling all some type of way. I love it. But one thing you said was you didn't know how to do any of this, and it's new to you. It's new to me, not being an e-commerce consumer, but being having an e-commerce business, a distributor, so to speak. But you said, well, I didn't know how to do it right, and I saw this as an opportunity. But a lot of times as high achieving professional women, because we are smart, we don't want to jump into something if we don't know how it all works. And I'm learning that is a very dangerous way of thinking. And with our particular investment, we won't share it on here, but it's honestly not that much. And guess what? You can quit.
I've spent more than that in the supermarket. I've spent more than that at Walmart. Let's talk about it. For real. The investment that I made in my health and wellness, and I'm getting products, so I'm getting like a starter of products, but I spend that easy at Walmart. I can spend that easy on Amazon. Like, seriously? I don't know. That's my way of thinking. And it is it's a limited way of thinking when you start looking at dollar signs. And I know we had this discussion before about pricing. We have money. Let your kids' school start acting up, because it's the season. 'Tis the season. They're going to start acting up. And we see all these memes on social media saying them kids ain't need nothing but a laptop. All 2020, they ain't need nothing but a laptop. Now you starting with your long back to school list. You need this, you need that, you're going to find money for that. You're going to have the money for that. Let your kids want McDonald's. Let you want to start your day at Starbucks. You have money for that. Anything that you want to do, you need to go to the spa, your girlfriends want to hang out tonight, you got money for that. So we have the money, but it's just whether or not you're willing to invest in you. And this again goes to that kind of inference we made about being seen. You say you want to be seen, but do you really want to be seen? So you say you want to be successful, but do you really want to be successful? You say you want an easy business, but do you really want an easy business?
Yeah.
So
this is the easiest one I know of. I don't have to do that much, because there's other stuff I'm over here working.
Oh, child, working hard, sweating, breaking a sweat. Yeah, but this is easy, and reason why I don't again make it as a separate business, because it's just an extension of who I am.
I love it.
So I am in the wellness space. I'm talking to people about wellness. I encourage people to drink more water and to take their vitamins and eat fruits and vegetables and work out. So this is just an extension of that. So you want to lose weight too. Great. I found some amazing products that I've used myself and have been successful. Do you want to try it? It's that simple. It's like and I use this example all the time. If Macy's were having a sale, if Macy's was having a 75% off sale, you'd call your girlfriends and say, girl, everything at Macy's, those Coach bags, everything at Macy's is on sale, 75% off. You would tell the world. You would tell the world. So I found products that help me. I'm going to tell the world naturally.
I love it. And like you said, e-commerce isn't going anywhere. And even if it's not, like with us, you mentioned like Mary Kay, paparazzi, and so many other things that I never really looked at it as direct network marketing or e-commerce, but it's also like another best kept secret, like coaches, where people who don't really look like us have been killing all kinds of games.
Oh, but we invading the space now, baby.
We coming.
We invading the space, and we are here. And you know what? We're going to get everything that everybody else was getting. We're going to get everything that we can gain, and we're going to do it in a genuine manner and a way of sharing the love and the health and the wellness to people like us that have not heard the secret. So we're sharing the secret. We're not going to keep this grand suspense as the secret. The secret. We're going to tell you. We're telling you what the secret is.
Yes.
It's up to you as to whether or not you're going to walk into it or you're going to wait. Because I know a lot of people have that wait and see mentality. Well, let me see how you do. Hold the phone. So you mean to tell me you are basing your life, your finances, your family's livelihood based off of the results that I get? Do we have the same work ethic? Maybe you're a boss in your field. Maybe you've got, social network a mile high. Like who you great in your own right. Why are you waiting and dependent on me? What if I fall asleep on this? What if I drop the ball? So you're gonna put your livelihood dependent on what I do, rather than saying, kick it over here. Let me see what I can do with this. Put me in, coach. Let me see what I can do with this ball. How far I can. Put me in and let me see how I can work it. Because you know what? I know how I get down. I got loads of friends. We were 13 deep. I'm contacting all 13 of them. Say, hey, you know people too. Let's do it. Let's act like we going to a party again. Let's get the gang together. Let's get the band together again. How about you buy these health and wellness products so that we can stay healthy, so that we can be more successful, that we can be more productive in our lives? But you want to wait and see. All right. When I'm sitting on Aruba with my boo,
and it's not going to take 20 years.
Because it's not going to be televised. The revolution, you ain't going to see when it's televised. You ain't going to, I ain't televising. I'm not going to be in Aruba with my boo recording it. You ain't going to see that. Ooh. So you're going to miss it waiting and seeing.
That right there, especially you're going to base your livelihood on what I do.
Never have ever. I don't know you like that.
I love that, because you're waiting to see what I can do, but you don't know. Like you said, I may drop the ball. I don't know. And we had this conversation, just be transparent, like, I don't care today. But you like, okay, I'm gonna motivate you, but I'm still gonna do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
And that was a great example. I love that. Wow. Okay, so anything health, the e-commerce space, you can follow both of us, because we are e-commerce business besties, just to put that out there. And we are we'll be doing a lot on Facebook and Instagram. Shaniqua's mainly on Instagram with the health and wellness. I'm on Facebook, but you can follow us for any information about that. We're going to do our reveal at the time that this is going to be put out. But we'll be doing those constantly and having sessions for people who are interested. And then anything else related to all of the businesses that Sheniqua has, you can contact her. I'll make sure I get her information, put it in the description, because all of these resources, if you were drawn to this, that means you need to start something that we said in here. There's a pull, there's a calling. So take action, and then we are giving you access to people, us, to whatever your next steps may be. So no more of that. I don't know where to start. You're here. All right. So any last words? That was a great speech, a great ending, but any last words that you want to share?
Yes, I thank you again. Thank you so much, my sister. I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed that God has connected us together. To be around a like-minded sister has been so uplifting to me. So I thank you. I thank you for moving in your gifting and your calling in life, and opening up your platform to highlight other women who are doing great things. We always see people in this competition, and there is no competition here. And like you said, we are business besties, and I'm grateful. I'm so abundantly blessed to have you in my life, not only as my client, as my friend, as my sister. And I just love you. And I just pray that God will continue to do amazing things in your life. And I know that he is. I've got that confirmation already. So I know that he is. And I'm just grateful that I have a front row seat in order to see it, and to be able to celebrate and applaud you for it. But the last thing that I did want to say, I wanted to talk with your listeners, and I just wanted to tell everybody, don't run from this. I had a session with Dr. V recently. Yeah. My gosh.
You're gonna make me tear up. Oh my goodness.
Light bulb moment, epiphany, aha moment, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it a revelation. Happened during our session, and my life will forever be changed. Now, I'm good in my space. I do what I do. I'm great at what I do. And it took nothing away from me to sit with another sister who's good at what she does, great at what she does, walking in her. It took absolutely nothing away from me. It didn't make me weak. It didn't make me unknowledgeable about anything. It took, hear me when I say, it took nothing away from my greatness. What it did was add, it enriched, it multiplied who it is that I was called to be. So invest in the personal development space. Dr. V is here. She's showing you herself. She's making herself available. She is reachable. You can reach her. Some people aren't unreachable. You message them on social media, and it's their social media manager who has no idea, no clue, but she is reachable. So stop trying to reach past the people that you see, trying to get to the people to that place that is unreachable. So I say to you all, connect with this beautiful woman of God. It is, and I promise you, I would not be on here fluffing and building up. I ain't got time for that. That's like a 3-hour conversation sucking me. I don't have time for that. But what I do know and what I do is talk about the gospel, the goodness, the good news. That's what the gospel is, the good news. So from one conversation that we've had, there was a revelation in my life, and I'm seeing the hands of God moving, putting the puzzle pieces together, and I'm blown away. Everywhere I've looked since our conversation, I'm seeing puzzle pieces coming together. Like, it has been my, and I texted you last night and I told you about the number that came during our conversation, the number that was revealed. And when I looked up the number, I was blown away. So the revelation continues even after the conversation. So I get to eat and to digest all of the nuggets and the goodness that was uncovered. And it took absolutely nothing away from me. And I can't wait. I can't wait for the next session. I can't wait for the intensive training. I can't wait for it all. I can't wait for the retreat, because I want to multiply. And if you want to multiply in your life, you can't be scared to sit in the room. You want to be seen, but you don't want to be seen. But get seen. Get seen by Dr. V and get your whole life literally transformed. That's my spiel. That's just my opinion.
I didn't ask for any of that. Oh my goodness. I appreciate that. And I receive all of that, my sister. Well, the only thing I can say after that is thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you for listening and learning with us. And remember this: to be well, to be empowered, be bold, and be brilliant. So until next time, bye.